and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. So you can join the program on those platforms as well, and you can drop your submission even as the show progresses in the live chat section on both platforms. The handle to look out for is Mainland 98.3 FM on both Facebook and YouTube. So this is Milan Focus, and that's the part where we look through two stories off the front pages of the papers and try to flesh things out, put some spotlight on it, and open up the phone line for you to share your submission as regards these focal points. My name still remains Omobola Sandra, and I have Fuad Sahid with me via the phone line, who is also going to share his own thoughts as regards the focal points of the day. Today is World Food Day. I think I mentioned that earlier on, and it's the major headline on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, okay, sorry about that. And I think the theme for this year is good food for all for today and tomorrow. Whether there's good food for everybody in Nigeria this time now, we all know the answer to that. So let me just leave it. But the major headline here on the front page of the Guardian reads, inflation-weary Nigerians are begging and borrowing for survival. We have the fact that low-income families are unable to afford basic food. Many Nigerians are struggling and will continue to struggle to meet their expenditures between now and 2025. All right. And there's also the major concern as regards, agricultural produce in Nigeria, because apparently 50% of fresh agricultural produce in Nigeria is lost during the post-harvest stage. And the fact that we have hectares, millions and millions and millions of hectares of land have been inundated by flood and climate-induced issues and even insecurity. Farmers are unable to go to the farm, which is a serious problem for our food production in the country. Headline inflation rose to 32.7%. Food inflation is at about above 40% thereabout. And we're asking, how bad is the situation really? Because findings have shown that rising food scarcity and unaffordability is pushing more people into poverty, increasing their vulnerability to insecurity, meaning that for people to survive now, they may have to take to unconventional means to survive. Malnutrition as well across many states, and some people are even resorting to going to the waste bin in search of food. All right. And evidence have shown that a group of street and corporate beggars have significantly increased, with food being the main motivation. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with two of my colleagues, and we had this woman that was behind us. We were trying to buy food, and we had this woman behind us. And a colleague of mine said, "Oh, that this woman is not asking for money. If you check it, she's actually waiting to see if we can buy food for her." All right. So how bad is the situation really as regards food? A bag of rice, there's no bag of rice that goes for less than 90,000, 95,000 naira now. You also have beans, is also ridiculously expensive. A pint of gari is going for about 5,000 or 6,000 thereabout, depending on where you buy it. Egg, we are hearing that egg will go to 1,000 naira per crate. Bread, there's no bread now that you want. Good bread, big bread, family size bread that is going for less than 2,000 naira. Okay, so how bad is the situation really, and what should be the immediate reaction of the government to rising food prices and widespread poverty in the land? Okay, that's the first focal point. The second one is as regards the OYAN Dam. Anxiety grips Ogun community over fresh flooding. So very, very quickly, here on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper, residents of communities at JᴏɪＲ Aᴊɪḵᴏ, Lafenwa, Warewa, and other adjoining areas along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in Ogun State were thrown into panic on Monday following a flood scare due to the release of water from the Oyo River Dam by the Ogun River Basin Authority. And residents have started to witness a gradual rise in the currents of the Ogun River on Saturday. Meanwhile, the water has overflowed, is spreading across areas some meters away from the river bank. Some residents are expressing fear over what they described as another round of flood crisis in their communities. Some people are already considering relocating. There's a resident here who mentioned that he's already looking at relocating out of that particular area. So how serious are we with warning of flooding in Nigeria? I'm going to juxtapose this against the conversation around the Lagdo Dam probe by the House. saying that they are going to look into, what Cameroon actually does when they release water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. There was also the issue with the Borno flooding, where they said that was exacerbated by the release of the overflow of the Alao Dam as well. So as regards flooding, preparations for flooding, proactive measures to taken for flooding, how serious are we? What should we do about our dams and the incident of flooding? What's that study that you have to do? I think is there's a study that you have to do to check the test, to test the strength. Thank you. Integrity test. That's the word. So to test the strength of, the dams, can they still take the water that's currently in them? Do we need to take out water, or as the water passed the level that it should be, as regards volume, that the capacity that the dam can take? All right. So what should we do about our dams and the incident of flooding? What about proactive steps that we should be taking as a country as well? Those are the two focal points that we're looking at this morning. I'll start with Fuad Sahid before we officially open the phone line for you to share your thoughts. So, Fuad Sahid, the first is World Food Day, inflation as regards begging, borrowing, stealing for survival, and dam and flooding conversation.
Well, Sandra, what's the theme for this year's World Food Day?
Food
for us to retrain.
Food for all. Good food for all for today and tomorrow.
Good food for all for today and what?
Tomorrow. Yes.
You can see that the theme in itself takes us back to what I mean by sustainable policy agenda. Where you take care of today and then tomorrow. So you can't be talking about prosperity for tomorrow, good food for tomorrow, whereas the people of today cannot feed themselves. You do understand that? You can see that in the theme, the sustainable development agenda came into it again. That look, it has to be good food for all, for today and tomorrow. But what we are telling us now is that for now you starve, starve in the rest of tomorrow. No, your policies must be done in a way that you are able to you ensure that the people of today can feed themselves. Why not jeopardizing the interest of the coming generation or the future? But what has to be taken care of? It has to go pari passu. It has to be a simultaneous policy implementation. Not that you say there's no other way. They are telling you that people are dying, they are starving to death, and the only thing you tell them is that there's no other way. Or you go into a palliative agenda that you know that the corruption we have in the country will not even make it work. So it is what it is really. And if you look at the indices, if you look at the indicators, these are things that every serious government can sit down, get committed to fix it. Insecurity is still there. While we are still living in denial about how bad the security situation is, our farmers are still not able to go to farm. Some of the reports we are getting still shows that in Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, even parts of Kaduna State, farmers are still being made to pay taxes to bandits. They are being banned. They are still holding sway. Whereas we are here glossing over it, we lie about it, we deny it, but this thing still exists. What about the flooding situation now? J.M. Saka is warning us about 2025.
Famine.
And the problem of food. That in 2025, we better brace up with what is coming as far as food insecurity is concerned. So it is what it is. We are just hoping that again, the government would be serious about these things. Not pay lip service or just get people excited with headlines or statements or rhetoric. Sit down to do the job. Get committed to it. Work with the federating unit, the state government, the local government. Let's have a full policy that everybody will key into, see as a state of emergency and drive to success. If we don't do that, Sandra, and you have to brace up. It's not that we are being alarmist or anything. No. It's just what it is. If the egg poultry farmers are really telling you that egg, a crate will eat 10,000. Which other people are warning us now?
Bread.
Hey, the bread people are already warning us. Everybody is warning us that look, manufacturers are complaining. Everyone is complaining. The only thing you are getting from government is that there's no other way. There has to be other ways because people have to be able to take care of themselves today. Even though you are telling them about the future, but today has to be taken care of first before you begin to talk about the future. So it is what it is on that. And for the dams, the integrity test is now. Sandra, do you know why it is very important for us to conduct integrity tests on all our dams? Releasing water is even okay because the flooding will come at a gradual level. But just imagine that the dam suddenly collapsed and the water is released into the community.
Without control.
Without control. It happened, I think, in Libya, Sandra. I think it was last year or so, where a particular dam collapsed and washed people from the uncommitted side uncontrollably into the community. People were sleeping when they were washed away. Lagdo Dam is always happening. We are not in control of that dam. We need to work with the Cameroonians to even know how safe the dam is. Yes, they are able to release the water, but what is the integrity of that dam and other dams we have in the country? So that we don't have a situation where it will not be an uncontrollable release of water into our community and then begin to wash people away from their homes or even flood them to death, drown them to death. Are we going to pay attention to this thing? In Borno State, NIMED said that they had warned that allowed dam was going to be a problem and that it was going to lead to flooding in Borno State. Did anybody take action until it happened? So it is very important that we conduct integrity tests on all our dams and then begin to